This movie is better than people think, but it's also worse than people think. Like you can tell there's moments, there's a lot of things in the movie that are very blatantly, like too obviously, oh, the executives or whatever, what's the word for it? The studio, Disney and all these people, they're trying way too hard, the shareholders and all, interfering with the process to like do a bunch of stupid shit. Oh, it's the age of Ultron. What do you mean the age of Ultron? It lasted like 2 weeks. But then you also get all these other moments of the movie that are like really artistic, like extra artistic. Like more than all the other Marvel movies, honestly. Like they go super, like when Vision like first, comes into being or whatever, it feels like it turns into like a totally different movie. Like the atmosphere of the movie totally changes, and I'm like, is the director dissociating or something? Like, what's going on? Do they have multiple directors on this? It feels like so much of the movie they were like, okay, this is a huge undertaking. We're gonna take this chunk. We're gonna take this piece of the script. We're gonna take this thing and give it to like random people on the set who are like passionate about it. Like, oh, I think we should really do this. And either they just hand over the reins. Yeah, you direct this scene. That's what it feels like. They have like split personality disorder and the mind control stuff with like the going back in the memories of Thor and Heimdall and all that stuff. Like that was, and then it goes to Black Widow, and it's like a horror movie. And I'm watching it with my little cousins, and they're like 10 or something, and I'm like, and they're also girls, so I'm like, I don't know. This might be a little scary for them. They called Harry Potter a scary movie, so is this really the best idea? And then it switched over to Hawkeye's thing, and it's like a slice of life anime, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's over. I guess it's fine now. I actually really like that. Like, this movie has its problems, yes, but somewhere in this, I don't know how long the movie is, like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that, there's like a solid 35 minutes or something like that of just incredibly passionate people who just went off the rails and gave it their all. And it's just like little moments in the movie where they, oh, you know what? Right now we're going to take this little chunk out of the movie, the next like 3 minutes, and forget about everything else that's happening. We're just going to focus deeply on like going into the roots of like this one character and not going to, this is going to be our only priority for the next like 3 minutes. And like, dude, it's actually, this movie's underrated, but it's also overrated because for every one scene where someone passionate got their chance to shine, there was like 3 scenes where they had like, the studio, oh, we want to add Quicksilver for no reason and waste your guys' time with him. Also, the pretentiousness of Ultron pulled me out of the movie quite a lot, and him being like a pouty baby at certain times, and the ending being like the high stakes, oh, the world is gonna end and all this stuff, as usual. It gets stale after a little while. The stakes of it mean nothing. The stakes of all these Marvel movies mean nothing because the Disney movies, they're supposed to be shown to kids. What do you think is going to happen? Oh, the bad guys are going to win? No, the good guys are going to save the day at the end. That's always what's going to happen. Stop trying to treat it like it's some suspenseful moment and appeal to like the handful of 5-year-old kids in the theater who have never seen a Marvel movie before. Appeal to the rest of us as well, Give them a compelling story, like give them some entertainment while you also don't ruin the movie for us with the same stupid gimmick every time. It honestly wouldn't even be that hard. This is, Avengers level threat. Bro, they've dealt with bigger threats than this Age of Ultron or whatever. Scarlet Witch they had Scarlet Witch. She's way too OP, by the way. They probably should not have introduced her into the MCU, honestly. That kind of was like step 3 or 4 in just things going way too off the rails and way too overpowered, and now it can be normal for them to have like all the nanotech suit and everything like that, and it just got way too out of hand. There's not much of a character of her that I could really appreciate, and I don't think the acting was very good, to be honest. Elizabeth Olsen, right? Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen, that's her. Wow, she does not look like how she did in the movie on Google Images. There's a movie called Love and Death. Oh, so they just forgot about the robots. But yeah, Scarlet Witch is too overpowered. Scarlett Johansson is too hot. I actually rewatched this recently, so I didn't need to go back and watch it again for this retrospective like I've been doing for all these previous Marvel movies. I watched it like a year ago, as I mentioned, with my cousins. Even the little details, I'm so glad I did rewatch it because I wouldn't have remembered these things. I probably would have not been so favorable in this review if I didn't like remember the subtleties where it's like there's like little moments. Iron Man gets some like little win. He like does some scientific thing and he's like yay or something like that. Like really. So, and even the details of the movie are really good, and it has the whole like that super wholesome crown jewel of the movie. Honestly, the part where like Captain America moves Thor's hammer a little bit. The comedy of this movie is sometimes pretty good. Ultron, I feel it's not that I feel like, bro. I think most people, if they rewatched the movie as adults, they'd agree. Ultron's the weakest part of the movie. It's like cringe and corny and like it insists upon itself. It's like the chance for the executives to give all of the social commentary and all of the agenda. He's like the vessel that they use for that in this movie. They don't want to make him sympathetic by giving him a sympathetic motivation. They just go like, oh, have him expose and call out the stupidity of like the human financial system. Like, yeah, we know that already. In the same vein of the movie being pretty childish a lot of the time, it did become like glaringly. It kind of pulls you out of the movie. This is gonna ruin a lot of parts of the movie for you. It's gonna mess with your suspension of disbelief, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Everything glows now. Like it's not like Iron Man 1 realistic whatever. It's just like magic is everywhere in this world, and everything that's magical is like you can tell that it's magic because it glows. You would just see it all the time going forward in all these Marvel movies. When I say that out loud, it doesn't sound like a complaint. It doesn't sound like it's that bad. But when you watch the movie, like they ramp it up, like they go so overboard with it. It's just everywhere all the time, and the magic loses its magic. It loses like the specialness of it. Doesn't feel like anything anymore. There's no emotional punch to the magic system. In fact, the most like memorable like movie magic part of this whole movie actually was the part where there was no like glowing thing, even though it was like futuristic, unrealistic, whatever. It wasn't, going too overboard. There was actually no magic involved with it. It was the Hulkbuster fight. It was just all the Iron Man tech. No glowy space dust, no Doctor Strange stuff. Like we've gone totally overboard. And that's why I say this movie is underrated, because usually when things like this happen, you end up with just complete disasters, and you see glimpses of a complete disaster in this movie, but it was really carried. It stands on the crutches of the passionate people that give it those little glimpses of like magic, like movie magic, because everything does flip in this. Like we are past the point of okay, Marvel is going downhill. You can see it in this movie time and time again. You can see it and realize like this is not how you're supposed to make movies. The things that are supposed to be rare are common. So like the normal has become rare. The only parts of like movie magic don't involve any magic. And the only like superheroes, like the real superheroes, when you really think about the real heroes of the movie who actually made a difference, don't have any superpowers. Like Hawkeye is like the realest hero in this movie, and his like grand contribution that ended up saving the day for everyone that none of the other like superheroes with superpowers could do is just have a good girl, like have a dream girl, which I guess that is that is a superpower. Yeah, that is. When you watch the movie, don't try to think about the fact that everything's glowing all the time, and don't try to like dig deep into the subtleties and look into the weeds of it. Someone should probably make a cut and edit and chop out like maybe 20 to 30 minutes of the movie and just have like all the eye candy parts and the parts that drag on for a little bit too long, just remove those pieces. And that would honestly be like a really good movie to turn your brain off to and just have in the background the way people used to like, oh, movies showing up on Dish Network or DirecTV, like on satellite cable TV. Let's just hit record so that way we could save it and watch it for later when we're bored. This is that kind of movie to have for that, if you have that kind of cut. If you look closely at the movie's like flaws, its weaknesses, it will obviously diminish the movie. I'm saying that to say you don't have to. You can kind of turn your brain off and ignore it. It is definitely possible to do that. But like, I mean, I'd rather not enjoy the movie and look at it. I'm thinking about it the whole time. I'm looking for things to say so that like when I get around to making these videos, these retrospectives, like this is part of the movie for me. I'm still enjoying the movie, making this video. So this is part of what I do it for. So I'm going to look for the flaws. But when you watch it, don't think about the fact that like, don't ask yourself, hey, why did Ultron want to destroy the world? I don't know. No, he doesn't know. Executives don't know. The writer doesn't know. Nobody knows. But it doesn't really matter. What really matters in this movie is that Helen Cho is a cutie patootie. Vision being able to pick up Thor's hammer, stroke of genius. This is a kid's movie at the end of the day. So either watch it like a kid or be a kid. The real star of the show here is, I mean, if you can ignore the fact that he should have run out of arrows like several times in the movie, but they always show him with a full quiver. If you're like me and you're paying attention to how many arrows he has in his quiver, and you see him shoot like 20 arrows, and then they show a shot of him going back behind some corner, and he still has a complete set of arrows. There's a right and a wrong way to watch this movie. Don't watch it the way I did. Maybe. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. There's also some sexual jokes that will fly over the heads of little kids, because now kids are exposed to this stuff at a young age. But like the hide the zucchini, I don't know how they got away with that, honestly. I guess Marvel has that, they developed that street cred, which is why they were able to. This is a kids movie. I'm not going to say it's not a kids movie, but like maybe Natasha's backstory might be a little much. But you know what? I kind of lean on the side of like, hey, let them explore the unknown a little bit, Don't shelter the kids so much. I might be a little sensitive to this stuff because I've not seen, like I tend to like avoid gore and like disgusting content, and people send it in my group chats and they get, bro, why are you not watching this stuff? Watch it with us, and I tend to, and I haven't seen movies and TV shows in general in a very long time. It's just been like animes, so I don't really get exposed. So it's like, seeing people with no mouths and stuff like that might seem really scary to me, but maybe I'm just a little sensitive to it right now. Perhaps when I was like 16, 17, using MoviePass, going to the movie theater all the time, it would have felt like nothing to me. So maybe I'm just overblowing it. I think peak enjoyment of this movie happens when you're like 13 years old. I'd say 13. But also, there's a lot of low stimulation moments in the movie, so you need it to be like playing in the background, a sleepover or something like that. And they're like also playing video games on their DS and things like that. Or it needs to be where they're like on a cruise and they don't have their phones for a week. So that way their dopamine is a little more sensitive. But also, if you're going to do that and you're going to have like a no phone, no social media, no stimulation kind of environment for a little bit for the purpose of getting them through a movie that is lower stimulation, there are masterpieces that you should dedicate for those moments. This one's not super necessary. The best situation to watch this in is throw it on in the background the way you would throw on like something you recorded on like the DVR, but people today won't even understand what that means. When you're at the sleepover and you take like 2 TVs from 2 different rooms and put them in the same room and put all the gaming chairs and the blankets and everything on the ground and set up the whole thing like that, You could have it on one TV and then have like, be playing Call of Duty split screen on the other TV, and that's the kind of situation to have it on. And 13 years old, perfect age to watch it.